Susan, Danny D'Angelo, the laundry guy. How you doing?
Oh my God, how are you? I thought I recognized your voice. How are you?
Never felt better, never had more.
Hey, so that's probably why we connect in a smile over the miles. Okay, so I'm sitting here right next to the laundromat. So you called me at a very good visual time. So, um, are you the one that wants to not purchase but just lease?
That is correct.
Right. I remember. I have a somewhat photogenic memory. So, um, I did talk to the guy. I don't know if I told you or not, uh, but I thought you said, "Oh well, I'll just keep in touch periodically." So he said that this was part of his retirement plan, and even though we all feel it needs an overhaul, he said he's not wanting to really get rid of his lease right now. But I tell you, I think it would be so wonderful for the shopping center to have a clean, nice laundromat because people from all over come here because it's all hotels all around here with the airport and a lot of NSA and Westinghouse, Northrop Grumman is in our backyard, an airport square. So what can we do together to get this? Is there anything you could send me at least in writing that I could flag him down with? He
Susan,
just knows me, doesn't bother me.
you continue to refer to him, and my assumption is you're referring to your tenant, the operator
It's not my
of
tenant.
the
No,
laundromat.
yeah, the operator.
Okay.
Right. And Danny, I'm just a tenant too. Okay. I've been here 40 years, but I'm just a next door tenant. But it has changed hands so much. I kind of know him because I don't leave till 10 o'clock at night sometimes, and I see him over here or early in the morning. Like we nod to each other and he knows me, but we've never really had a discussion face to face except over the phone about you.
Okay. I need to get all of the characters straight in this Greek tragedy. It was my understanding that you are the landlord's agent in some capacity. Is that still true?
I am.
Okay,
I am.
very good. So that's the capacity I want to speak to Susan. Now,
That's me.
the land
Okay.
got it. The landlord is a completely separate entity, the building owner, correct? There's three characters,
Totally.
four including
Right.
me. Am I right so far?
You got. Yep. Yeah. That's it.
Okay. So, which just out of curiosity, which business do you operate?
I'm a real estate broker, licensed commercial, residential, property management, and businesses is what I sell.
Okay, so you're a business broker as well. Now,
Uh huh.
to 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 refresh your memory and mine, I made the mistake of buying a laundromat over 20 years ago, and I would never buy another one. I've built the empire doing precisely this. My partner and I are
hmm
looking at just about every store in Maryland. We do stores all over the tri state area. When we see
hmm
underperforming locations, and you said it yourself, you understand.
Ah, it's horrible. Yeah.
Your word, not mine. Horrible
Yeah.
location. All this business is, Susan, help me out. It's equipment. That's the basis for it, right? And
hmm
if you don't renew, refresh, you can keep a store very, very clean, and you can even keep very, very old equipment operating for years, for
hmm
decades. But when does it become counterintuitive as a business operator to spend 10 hours a day fixing said equipment? Then we get into hours of operation, we get into servicing the community and the customer, not just serving yourself. And what this individual, I don't know him, don't even know his name, didn't even know it was a male until you said he, they are no
hmm
longer doing either. They're not really servicing themselves and certainly not the community. Now, like you said, you already understand if we're able to sign a long-term lease, we're going to spend hundreds of thousands of dollars on washers and dryers alone. It's not just removing that wood paneling and ripping up the floors and polishing the concrete. That's part of it, but that's a very
Yeah, it's a
small
full
part.
gut job. It's a full gut job. And I've done 4 laundromats that have been thriving with new owners, but that was about 10 years ago. I did 4 of them in Glen Burnie because they were all atrocious and a Greek tragedy, if you will say that. So I'm with you. You have my I'm on your page, totally.
So understanding that sadly, the operator has nothing to do with my future success. I don't buy the building, the business. I'm also not buying buildings currently. My partner and I, it's a zero-sum game. We're looking to sign that long-term lease, at least 15 years, because I'm not going to spend the money on the equipment unless we have a long runway.
Mm-hmm.
You're my mouthpiece going to the landlord, whether it's an entity, a real estate investment trust, or an individual, and saying, look, I have this group that wants to elevate the center. You're correct. This isn't Kool-Aid we're drinking here. When we renew this laundromat, you're going to have more people in that parking lot than you know what to do with. And maybe eventually you change the entire outlook of the center, the other location, the other tenants, etc.
Mm-hmm.
But you're asking me to put something in writing. What am I putting in writing?
Yeah.
Is this
Well,
so? It's not my thing. Hold on a second. I got to dump this call. You with me, Susan?
sure. Mm-hmm.
It's not my place to discuss what should, shouldn't, may or may not happen with your tenant. That covenant, that relationship is sacred. If you have a lease with them, I wouldn't ask you to do a thing. I sleep well at night. If that lease has been broken in the past, you're a licensed real estate agent. If they are month to month,
He still has 10 years left on his lease.
good for him. So then what good does it do me to put something in writing? I want to understand.
Because from doing sales for 45 years and being rather successful, I would, it's always a lot easier when you have something in front of you that's tangible, that they see this is a real person, that maybe I should. You never know what day they say yes or no. And I'm one that I never assume anything. If I'm going to do a job, I do it right. And I would have to have something about, no one in their right mind is just going to say, sure, let me think about it. Nothing happens because there's no time response to it. You know what I'm saying? Like the letter of intent can be withdrawn at any time.
Sure.
And I'm just trying to make it easier, more effective. That's all. Nothing more than that.
I'm frankly surprised because in my experience, I have to hand it to your tenant because in my experience, normally when a store is in this decrepit condition, they haven't done the intelligent thing and marched into the landlord's office and said, well, I want to have a 10-year lease ahead of me, because they have that. And I don't, again, crystal clarity, I'm not asking you or any landlord or landlord's agent to go in and look for something to bounce them out. But the condition of this store, again, they're continuing to take, if they have 10 years remaining on this lease, that's surprising to me. With the purple paint and the Brady Bunch wood paneling,
right.
And again, the old equipment where over 70%, last we checked, over 70% of the equipment is broken down. So he's got a 10-year runway. Wonderful. And you know this as a professional, unless there's some way to wedge them out. I can write you a letter of intent contingent on the exit of the current tenant. I can do that.
Right.
So I have two questions for you. On a 15-year term, what's the square footage and what would be your asking rate? I need to know what to put in that LOI. Don't forget, I want to interrupt. We're not going to make you rich. We're not going to increase the rate of rent. We need to reset this lease. We need to bring it back so that we can get our feet on the ground. And the difference, I think you know this, the difference between us and your current operator will be the debt service on the equipment. I'll have that bill that he does not.
Mm-hmm. Right. Now, keep in mind, I'm dealing with, and I'm with you all the way, because I'm dealing with 3 old leases that I just, when wonderful businessman that we all adored. Talk about it. His name was Joe, and he was a good old Joe. The community loved him, absolutely loved him. The wife is hardly ever here, and her two kids do not make the best financial decisions. One's
Who
let's
are
just
we
say they're the
talking
lucky
about?
stone.
Again, I don't know who the characters are. Is this the landlord?
Yeah, the actual true landlord and the family are not that engaged in the shopping center.
Got it.
And this is a cash cow because they bought it for $75,000, and Joe was a mailman at the post office next door. You know what I'm saying? So, and he bought it for $75,000 under financing, including a bank up at the top and additional land that he just put the houses on that he paid only $75,000 for in the late 70s. So um, they just they don't get moved by a lot, and they don't want to bother. That's the problem. And quite frankly, I've been here over 40 years, and I'm just going to now keep a little small office, and because I have a brokerage, I have a couple broker licenses, and I teach and train commercials. So my kids are. It's because of the laundromat. I sit right next door and have a big open glass, and they're like, "Mom, with a light rail, anyone could come and just like be on drugs because there's drug deals to go on behind the shopping center." Because I work late at night, and they're like, "Mom, you're 72. Why are you still doing this? You don't have to work." I said, "I know, but I love it. It's like my way of life." And I'm like always here, and I just, I mean, this is where I hide. One the truth. My son lives across the street, so I just go over there and eat dinner and come back here and work sometimes. It's just, I'm getting to the point where I actually am starting to feel a little fearful because I've seen some of them sit outside my door when I walk up at night. They're
So,
stoned as
Susan,
can
let
be.
me tell you how we rectify that if I'm hearing a question. Simple.
Uh-huh.
One customer is your best security in a laundromat, and we run our stores 24/7. We're going to light the parking lot like a Christmas tree, but it is not ready to be 24/7 until we have consumers begging to stay late after hours and knocking on the door at 6 a.m. when we open. When that happens, you're going to have that trickle and that constant stream of real consumers, customers using the laundry, and that's your best security. The knuckleheads, as I call them, they're not going to be in there. They're not going to be trying. We lock the restroom at night, obviously. We use Alexa systems. Like any business, this will become a modern laundromat. Do you know why we are even interested in this space?
To service the public and to set
The
you're setting up your own
infrastructure.
portfolio.
We're
Yeah.
interested in the gas, water, electric that already exists there so that we can fairly smoothly move from what is this decrepit store to a good, well-run service center. I need to get back to the question again. What's the square footage and what would be your asking rate? Or what are they
Actually,
paying versus what we
well,
would be
that's what
paying?
I was going to tell you when you kept. I have to find out because it's not linked to our regular shopping strip that I. That's a totally separate. When they built the side strip, that was here way before. So
Okay.
that
Susan
is
Eifert, do
its
you remember
own
when we
little
first
loop.
spoke? It was October of 2022.
I do, yeah.
And I do keep notes because I deal with a lot of landlords and lovely agents like yourself. And back then I was told, hey, I need to kind of figure out what we can do. I will put an LOI together, but you need to give me the jumping off point. You need to tell me what is reasonable. If the rate of rent is, and I don't think it's going to be crazy. I think it's going to be
No, I can
reasonable.
find that out. I can find that out. If you're going to take time to do a letter, of course I can do that. Yeah, I will do that for you.
It needs to
But
be reasonable and commensurate for a laundromat, not a nail salon or a national chain. And if that's the
I
case,
got it.
and the landlord and you can put your heads together in that Monday meeting and not go crazy, again, the difference, I don't want to reiterate or nor do I want to mince words. We're looking to reset the lease at a more reasonable rate, and we're going to have debt service on equipment. I'll happily put an LOI together contingent on the exit of the tenant if and when that time comes. I'm not looking
Exactly.
for you to
Right.
go over that lease with a fine-tooth comb and make any attempt to boot out an existing good paying guy. It sounds like the landlord and the family are lovely, and we'd love to work with you, but it's going to
They are.
depend on some factors.
Yeah.
I sent you an email in October, and I'm wondering, did you open it? I send before and after shots of my stores, what we do and how we do it.
No, I didn't. I do not recall it, and I
Okay, what's the best email address?
An email.
Perfect. I've got it. So I'm going to send you an email. I need to hear from you what that reasonable rate is so we can put something in writing and make a beautiful, shiny, bright laundromat out of this spot if and when the time comes. Whether that's 6 days, 6 months, or 6 years, we will still be intrigued unless I get hit by a crosstown bus. I will CC my partner. I will CC my partner, Josh, as well. This is my cell phone number. I've got yours. Keep us in mind. I'll send you an email right now. Let me know.
Love it. Thank you so much, Danny.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
And we're getting to your questions, ladies and gentlemen. Here in a moment, Susan is lovely. I keep losing the client, so let's get him back on. Little dialing music, Paul.
Hello.
Sometimes it's hard, even for me, just to let people talk, especially when they remind me of my sister. She does not have a problem talking. And, you know, this is why we keep good notes. The first time, she's a lovely woman. The first time we talked to her, she's like, I'm dealing with UPS and I got packages. She said something very, very telling, that her office being in the same strip mall scares her. So we always have headlines for the locations. And Josh, I want you to change the headline on this one to Susan is scared. All right. It's alliteration as well, right? Or Susan seems scared. We want to press that nerve with her. But again, I'm really surprised that this tenant has a 10-year lease remaining. I have never booted a tenant. We're not looking for anyone to do that. We are not brazen or sharp around the edges. We don't have our elbows out when it comes to that, because if someone has a good long-term lease and they're doing their level best to run the store and service the community, that's one thing. This store is only one of those. Sounds like the landlord is a real graham cracker of a guy, and he's out there allowing this tenant to sign that long-term lease. What they should do is say, look, we'll sign a lease with you, but you've got to reinvest. So the ball's in her court once again. I thought we had emailed her. She has my cell phone. It's always this, oh yeah, hey, great, nice to talk to you. Sounds lovely. We're going to do this. But then I'm going to send the email right now the minute we hang up. Does it fall off? Is it real? Is it just that she's been 45 years in business as a realtor? Good for her. Will she follow up and follow through? We hope so. If she does not, we're back in the saddle a week from today. We'll hit, well, it's a holiday, believe it or not. God bless America. Otherwise, I will CC you in the email, and keep your nose to the grind and your ass to yourself, and keep putting stores in the document.
That sounds good, Danny. We'll talk soon.
Thanks, buddy.
All right, see you.
Boop. All right. Appreciate you guys being here. So we have another classic Danny call. Thank you, Willie. We're going to the mattresses here and the people. Missionary filmmaker. I'm not sure what that means, if he has a real name. Why would you sell all your laundromats if they were profitable? Come on, man. Let me explain, my friend. In my very, very course, it's not a sales call. In my course, the last thing that I say on the last course video is you must have an exit strategy. The sum of the parts are worth far more. Yes. I was able to, it's no one's business what my net worth is. No one, including you. It makes absolute brilliant sense to build an empire. That's many, many people's goals, whether it's Google, Facebook, any unicorn farts. These are physical assets and physical buildings. I had strip malls that I accumulated through my landlords, and I built an empire. I did not sell a failing laundromat. I sold an empire. I did very, very well. I don't need to do this. We can have an argument. You can email me your phone number, and I'd love to get you on a call. We'll sit and talk about how I'm wrong or how I did this or how I did that. It's not a negative. I want to make you understand. If you've got nothing better to do than troll my YouTube, great. God bless. I have no problem. Gotcha. So this is just for fame. Same guy. No, I don't want to be famous. I didn't even monetize my YouTube channel until 2019. I've been on here for almost 20 years. Go look at my first video. Not for fame. What I do is for you. What I do is for truck drivers and single moms. I put them into these laundries. Really, I'm fueled by hatred of the industry. Well, it's a terrible thing. I'm sure it's biblical. I didn't want to exit the industry entirely, nor did I want to write a book because print is dead. I wanted to do what I'm doing now. When someone goes to, I had a call earlier today, when someone goes to buy a laundromat and they're looking at a $500,000 price tag and they start to look very specifically at the numbers, it never makes sense. What am I buying? It goes back even further that individual, that entity, that family, they might have saved up some money and they decide they want to own a business. Then they start looking into laundromats, and then they are bombarded by distributors, business brokers, salespeople that are selling laundromats and equipment at grossly inflated prices, both. So they're in their due diligence and they're looking at all of it and they say, this just doesn't seem right. And they Google how to buy a laundromat. Should I buy a laundromat? Is this laundromat a good idea? And they find me, and perhaps like you, they think, this guy is a fast-talking douche. Great. Or they look a little further and they watch 700 of my YouTube videos and they think, all right, it makes sense. If, that's the operative word, if you want to get into this business, for the love of God, don't buy someone's failure. And the guy, again, whose name we don't know. All right, last thing, I'm reading these live. If I book you to call a landlord, will you treat me poorly after I pay money? Also, is there any guarantee you continue helping until I get into a laundromat? My brother, I don't know if you've seen the course. You can answer that. I'd love to. Okay, his name is Shane. Hi, Shane. Making friends one Shane at a time. You can't book me to call landlords unless you've seen my course. That should make sense. I'm not trying to zap you for a few $100s. Everybody wants to be Tom Cruise flying fighter jets with their hair on fire, but we must first learn to walk. If I get on the phone with you and we have a consultation and you haven't seen the course, there's going to be 1 million questions. I'm enjoying the back and forth and I appreciate it. If I book you for a call, will you treat me poorly after I pay money? Do you mean the way that I talk to everybody on here? Well, if you're not a knucklehead, I'm not going to treat you any special way. And by the way, perhaps one of my previous clients or someone that's got a laundromat is here. I'm not going anywhere ever. When it comes to my time, I'm a complete and utter fool. I charge very little for what I do. I give you 0 time limit on my time. If you pay me for a consultation, you have this cell phone number. and you have it for life. It's almost like this is a setup. This guy starts by calling me a schmuck, and here we are. I just spoke with my friend Joe in LA, who's got 3 laundromats. He's doing millions of net dollars in his free laundries. I go nowhere. Seems crazy. This isn't an old Motorola flip phone. I have thousands of contacts in here. I put dates on there when we consult, and my time does not expire. No one's ever taken advantage of it. I get some people that like to text me every day for weeks. I answer the texts. Or if it's something lengthy that needs an explanation, I'll call them. If any of my current clients are on here, they will attest to exactly that. If you're afraid of me treating you poorly, you shouldn't own your own business. Sorry, guy. Shane is his name. There was a question before. The classic Danny call. Gotcha. So this is just for fame. That's him. Let's say a laundromat has been operating for 15 years on a septic tank. Is that still a bad idea? Real estate is for sale. Real estate, Joe, is a great idea. God ain't making any more of it if you get it right. Don't buy the laundromat. If the building is for sale for X and the bank appraisal is X and you're paying X or under, great. Don't give them a thin red cent for the laundromat. That's my rule of thumb. $500,000 building, great. Septic, clean the septic system. Be certain that the current regs still allow, and there's no EPA issues, you're going to dig into that. That's part of your due diligence. Make sure that that septic system is still allowable in that area. I can't speak for everywhere, but that would be part of the due diligence. Very, very important. Great question. Buy real estate if you have it. Willie says, been working with Danny for a few months, has never treated me poorly. Shut up, Willie. Missionary guy, Shane. Okay, that's him. He says he has the course. Well, good, Shane. Preaching to the choir. He's seen it. Maybe he will start with Shane, buy the course and retain him. You'll never regret it. Look at you guys. These in the YouTube comments, it's funny because people are like, oh, this is Danny pretending to be somebody else. Man, I'm good at this. Holy shit. How do I do it? I can't speak to the inadequacies in you, Shane, Willie, Alec, anyone. I say over and over and over and over again, I am not a counselor and I'm not a motivational speaker, yet I find myself drug into those roles, kicking and screaming again and again. I have a phenomenal lifestyle. Shane, you take umbrage with me having exited my stores. What are you going to do? Retool them over and over until you're a 52-year-old old man? I hope we understand each other. This is a very odd one-way conversation, but Shane, click the button. Get on a consultation, and maybe part of that will be us talking on the YouTube machine. Appreciate each and every one of you. I say that towards the end so we know it's coming. Oh, I didn't watch the whole course yet, but I'm halfway through. Come on, dude. If you're talking about my endless private landlord calls, that's like 50 hours of content. But the cleaning up in Laundromats course itself is, what, 4 hours? See, here I am treating you poorly. I hope you can handle it. Alex says one at a time. Roger that, says Joe, and thank you. Thank you, everyone. Anything else, Shane? Send me an email, Shane. This is so strange. We're bouncing all this off some satellite, and it's coming back to Shane, and Shane's just sitting there, starting off just a little name. You take umbrage with me exiting my stores. It was time. It's time for everybody. The preponderance of people, you didn't read my last comment. Well, write it again. How many laundromats will I help you negotiate? Do you give a certain amount, or how does it work if I pay you? That's all written in the course. It's all written out verbatim in the course. You can email me, and I will happily write it out to you. I don't go into my fees or the services, but I will tell you, we will call every single Laundromat until you get a success. You want to know how many I will help you negotiate? I think that's what you're asking. Okay. Again, unfucking heard of. I'm a giver. I won't ask for forgiveness for seeing people for what they are and occasionally pressing buttons, like with Susan on this call. She wants to talk. Okay. Now we have Daniel Nash. Daniel just jumped in. Are you not embarrassed by the videos you post? Which videos, buddy? My shorts? You've been trolled, Daniel. You, my friend, have been trolled. The short videos where I take, for instance, this call that was a lovely 15-minute conversation where real work is being done, we will take that and cut down one little funny, kitschy thing or me rolling my eyes or her being funny, and we'll make a short. And it'll get 1.9 million views and thousands of comments calling me names. So yeah, I'm embarrassed. You got trolled. Alec doesn't understand it. Why would I be embarrassed? I love those calls. And dude, you fall right into the trap. Like here, you just jumped on this call and you're like, oh, that's the guy I saw on the YouTube shorts. He's a real dickhead. Love it. I love it. Reeling you in and trolling the trolls, buddy. Watch some long form, Daniel. Watch some long form. I did a live, I don't know, Friday. I don't even know what day it is today. I did a live where we called a landlord in New York and took the deposit off of the lease. Go watch it. Fun moments. He's talking about my videos, I think. Not a lot of people have wash and folds in my area. Is that still a necessity? Luke and Lee Williford, who have 80 laundromats, they don't do wash, dry, fold. They don't do pickup and delivery at all. It's in the course. I talk about this. You want it because you're going to use it to entice a contract attendant. You need a warm body in the store. Great question. Don't try to profit from it because that will see you creating a full-time job. What happened, Daniel? Where'd you go? Appreciate you guys. I said one thing. I'm fueled by hatred. I don't know if I finished that. It's the bad guys. There are good and bad distributors and business brokers and real estate agents. Even Susan, who we talked to here, early on, she didn't want to speak. She said she was busy. She's a little bit flighty at the time. Okay. My opinion, don't answer the phone. Don't be a realtor. Don't answer if you're not going to do the work. Look at your phone and go, I don't have time for that. Whatever it is. It's not the lottery calling. A guy like Daniel is on here. Am I embarrassed? Yeah. I have control over everything, including your mindset. Nothing. And here comes the next. Have you helped someone in Allentown? Shane, let me answer that question in another way. Have you looked at laundromats in Allentown? Because the question is fearful. Oh, Danny's already working with someone here, which I'm not. Oh, it's probably tapped out. Finish the course that you already paid for. You have a self-help book on your shelf that you never read. That's who you are. Am I making fun of you? Can you handle it? No one knows who you are. Read the book. It's not about the $28 that you spent at the bookstore. It's about the 8 hours you're going to spend reading it, or 6, depending on your reading comprehension. If you cull one bit of information from that self-help book, whether it's about business, diet, exercise, religion, you've earned time, energy, and certainly money well spent. So finish the course. Get on a call with me if you wish. There's never any pressure. And now we come full circle. And he says, good call. When you finish the course and you go scout, you're going to say, look at all of these shitty ass laundromats. Wow. They exist everywhere. When I started doing this 20 years ago, I didn't know how long this would last. It lasts forever. This was fun. I appreciate each and every one of you. Ciao, kids.